All right, everybody, get ready because today we are diving into a topic that I think most businesses totally misunderstand, and that is marketing to the affluent. We're going to be unlocking all the secrets using Dan Kennedy's no BS marketing to the affluent. And let me tell you, this book is a wild ride, so get ready to ditch those tired old stereotypes.
Absolutely. And one of the most refreshing things about Kennedy's approach is how he just shatters that myth of the old money archetype.
Yeah.
He shows us that today's affluent consumer is far more likely to be a self-made entrepreneur. Someone who values hard work and innovation and straight talk over stuffy jargon.
Okay, so less monocle and top hat, more like a tech CEO in a hoodie who just happens to own a vineyard on the side.
You got it. And that's a crucial point for anyone looking to attract this customer base. Understanding that today's affluent consumer is more diverse than ever before is critical.
That's super interesting, especially since I'm describe the listener's business or industry here. It's not like I'm selling yachts here. So what you're saying is that even if I don't consider myself a luxury brand, this information is still relevant.
Absolutely. One of Kennedy's biggest mythbusters is this idea that affluent folks are just like everyone else. They just have more money. Not so, says Kennedy. While their basic needs might be met, their motivations and aspirations are different. They're driven by a desire for experiences, for recognition, for a sense of belonging, things that go far beyond a simple price tag.
Okay, so less about keeping up with the Joneses, more about crafting a lifestyle that's uniquely them.
Precisely. It's about understanding their psychology. Remember when Marvel released that massive, ridiculously expensive Fantastic Four omnibus? Who would spend hundreds of dollars on a comic book, right?
I'll admit I was tempted.
Exactly. And that's because it wasn't just a comic book. It was a piece of history, a collectible, a conversation starter. It tapped into that affluent boomer nostalgia, offering a unique experience. And guess what? They sold out in weeks.
Wow, that's a powerful example. So it's not just about selling a product, it's about selling a feeling, a story, a membership into an exclusive tribe. Is that what Kennedy means by delinking price from product?
You're catching on quickly. He gives this incredible example of these two brothers selling lobster trap ownership for a hefty sum. Now no one's actually taking those traps home, right? It's about owning a piece of the experience, connecting with Maine's lobstering tradition. They're selling a story, a feeling of exclusivity.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this applies to my business. Instead of just listing the features of, mention the listener's product or service here, I should be thinking about the experience it provides and build a story around that.
Exactly. And a key part of that is understanding the different segments within the affluent market. Kennedy emphasizes that affluent isn't a one-size-fits-all category. He delves into the demographics and psychographics of various groups. For instance, you have your newly affluent, who might be more conscious of their spending and motivated by status symbols.
And then there are the affluent boomers, like those comic book collectors, who are a gold mine for experiences and nostalgia-driven purchases, right?
You've got it. And he even dedicates a whole section to the often overlooked LGBTQ affluent market, a group that often prioritizes travel and unique experiences. It highlights the need for targeted messaging and a deep understanding of the unique motivations within each affluent segment.
It's like you're speaking a whole new language, the language of affluence.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, Kennedy talks about the affluent E-factors. What are those and how can I actually use them?
It's not a secret code or anything. Essentially, the E factors are the emotional drivers behind affluent purchasing decisions. Take ego, for instance. Now, this isn't about vanity. It's about the affluent seeking validation for their hard work, their achievement. So you appeal to that by positioning your product or service as a mark of distinction, a way to stand out from the crowd.
So instead of just saying, mention listener's product or service is high quality, I could say, mention listener's product or service is crafted for those who appreciate the finer things in life. It feels more aspirational.
You're getting it, and that's just one example. There's also exclusivity, simplification. Remember, time is often their most valuable commodity. We can dive into those a bit later, but you're starting to see how understanding these E-factors can transform your messaging. We've been talking about appealing to their desire for experiences and recognition, but one of the biggest E-factors Kennedy highlights is actually the craving for simplification.
That makes total sense. I mean, if I was constantly bombarded with choices and decisions, I'd crave a little simplicity too. Imagine being able to just snap your fingers and have someone take care of all the details, right?
Exactly. The more affluent your clients become, the more they crave simplicity and freedom from decision fatigue. Anything that streamlines their lives reduces complexity that's gold to them. It's not always about adding more, it's about refining and simplifying what they already have.
So it's almost like a paradox. You're selling them a luxurious experience, but at the same time, you're selling them a way to escape the overwhelm that often comes with affluence.
You hit the nail on the head. And speaking of streamlining, Kennedy talks about creating a direct marketing system. It sounds pretty technical. What exactly is that?
It's not about complicated algorithms, if that's what you're thinking. Think of it as a roadmap for attracting and nurturing those high-value clients. And it all starts with what Kennedy calls irresistible bait.
Okay, so not a literal cheese plate, but something that speaks directly to their needs and desires, like a high-value free report tailored to their specific pain points.
You got it. And he emphasizes that this bait can't just be some fluffy PDF. It needs to offer real insight or solve a specific problem that your target audience really cares about.
Right, because remember, time is precious, especially for the affluent. If they're going to invest their time in your free report or webinar, it better be worthwhile.
Okay, so they've taken the bait, they're intrigued.
Wow.
What's the next step in this customer capture process?
Think of it like this. You wouldn't drag someone into your store and immediately hit them with a sales pitch, right? Kennedy uses the analogy of a foyer, a welcoming space where potential clients can get a feel for your brand without feeling pressured.
So no flashing neon signs screaming, "Buy now." Got it. It's more about building trust and demonstrating your expertise, letting them see that you understand their world.
Precisely. Remember, they're not just buying a product or service, they're buying into our relationship. And nothing solidifies that relationship like genuine word-of-mouth marketing, especially among the affluent.
It's like that exclusive club we talked about earlier. Once you're in, you're part of the tribe and you're more likely to recommend it to your circle of influence.
Exactly. But here's the key. Those recommendations are earned, not demanded. Kennedy emphasizes the importance of exceeding expectations, of creating those wow moments that turn clients into raving fans.
So you're not just meeting their needs, you're anticipating them going above and beyond in a way that feels personalized and genuine.
Absolutely. Imagine this, you're a client and you receive a handwritten thank you note after making a purchase. Or maybe it's a small personalized gift that shows you're not just a transaction. These small gestures can have a huge impact.
It's amazing how much of this comes down to the human element, right? Even in today's digital world, those personal touches still matter. In fact, they might matter even more when you're dealing with a discerning clientele.
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it's about creating a sense of connection, of belonging. We all crave that regardless of our income level.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of storytelling, understanding the E factors, and creating a system for attracting and nurturing those high-value clients. But how do we take all of this and turn it into something tangible, something actionable? Okay, we've covered so much ground already, from ditching those old money stereotypes to understanding the power of the E factors, but I'm really curious about something Kennedy calls banishing the ordinary. What exactly does that mean? Is it just about adding a fancy chocolate on the pillow, metaphorically speaking?
It's about so much more than that. It's about infusing your entire business with a sense of the extraordinary in a way that truly resonates with your ideal affluent client. Imagine, instead of just selling plants, you create a luxurious gardener's village experience like that high-end nursery Kennedy mentions.
So they're not just buying a fern, they're buying a curated world of botanical bliss. I love that. But how do you banish the ordinary if you're not selling something tangible? What if mention the listener's business or industry here, for example?
That's where it gets really interesting. Even something as mundane as a dentist appointment can become an experience. Kennedy describes a scenario where clients are picked up in a limo, offered a complimentary manicure while they wait, and sent home with a personalized gift basket.
Okay, that's next level pampering.
Yeah.
I'd almost look forward to a root canal. But seriously, it highlights how any business can elevate their offerings, even if it's just in small, thoughtful ways.
Exactly. It's about exceeding those expectations, creating those wow moments that have clients telling everyone they know about their amazing experience. And don't underestimate the power of a good story. Kennedy uses the example of a commercial lender who took his top clients on a trip to the South African diamond mines.
Wow, that's definitely banishing the ordinary on a grand scale. But again, I can see how even smaller gestures, if they're aligned with your brand and your ideal client's values, can have a huge impact.
You're getting it. It's about recognizing that affluent clients are often less concerned with price and more concerned with value, exclusivity, and those personalized touches that make them feel seen and understood.
Speaking of price, Kennedy also talks about something called price elasticity. What's that all about?
This is where it gets really fascinating. Price elasticity refers to how sensitive people are to changes in price. And what Kennedy argues is that the affluent are often less price sensitive, especially when they perceive high value.
So they're not just buying a product or service. They're buying an experience, a solution to a problem, a feeling. And they're willing to pay a premium for it.
Precisely. He even shares an example from his own business where he raised the price of his high-end coaching program and his sales actually increased. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and double your prices tomorrow.
Right. Got to make sure you're delivering that value. But it is a good reminder to not undervalue what you offer.
Exactly. And to your point about providing value, Kennedy argues that businesses catering to the affluent can actually thrive during economic downturns.
That seems counterintuitive. Why would that be?
Yeah. Think about it. If you're offering products or services that simplify their lives, reduce stress, or offer an escape from the everyday, you're providing a solution when it's needed most.
That makes a lot of sense. So during times of uncertainty, focusing on the affluent market could actually be a smart move.
Precisely. Especially if you position yourself as a trusted resource.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground today. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap things up?
Remember, marketing to the affluent isn't about being salesy or exclusive. It's about understanding their motivations, building relationships, and offering solutions that truly enhance their lives.
It's about creating something extraordinary, something that resonates on a deeper level.
Exactly. And as Kennedy suggests, think about what the ultimate experience would be for your ideal customer. What small steps can you take starting today to bring that vision to life?
That's a fantastic question to ponder and a great note to end on. Thanks so much for diving into this with me, and until next time, happy marketing.